I have to admit, looking at the research for this deep dive, it gave me a bit of an existential crisis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was reading through the data, and I literally found myself checking my phone.
While reading about not checking your phone.
Exactly. To see if anyone had texted me about the data I was reading. It was incredibly meta and kind of depressing.
It's the irony of the whole modern condition, isn't
Yeah.
it? We're just drowning in information about how distracted we are, but we can't focus long enough to actually process it.
Right. And there was one number in particular that just, it really set the tone for me. It terrified me. 47 seconds.
It is a shockingly low number.
That's the average attention span on a screen in 2024, according to Dr. Gloria Mark's research. 47 seconds on a single task before we switch. And the median is even worse. It's like hovering around 40 seconds.
Which is just a staggering drop if you look at the trajectory. I mean, go back to 2004, and that number was 2.5 minutes.
150 seconds.
Right. By 2012, it's cut in half to 75. And now here we are barely scraping past the 40-second mark. We're losing the ability to just sit with a single thought.
And that's exactly what we're digging into today. We are doing a deep dive into attention, but I don't want this to be another one of those preachy put down your phone talks. The sources we have frame it differently. They call attention cognitive capital.
I really, really like that framing, cognitive capital. It suggests your focus isn't just a habit, It's a finite economic resource. It's currency.
Yeah.
And when you squander it, you're not just distracted, you're technically depleting your net worth, both biologically and professionally.
So today we've got this massive stack papers on cognitive load theory, neuroscience insights, reports on smartphone addiction, Cal Newport's deep work. Our mission is to figure out how our brains are physically changing and maybe how to get some of that focus back.
To do that, we have to start with the machinery. We have to look under the hood of the brain to understand why we can't seem to keep our eyes on the road.
Okay, let's do it. The research calls attention the gateway, which seems straightforward, but I have a feeling there's more to it.
Okay, think of your brain like a high-security facility.
Yeah.
Inside, you've got your working memory, that's the workbench, and long-term memory, which is the library.
Right.
Attention is the security guard at the front gate.
The bouncer.
Exactly, the bouncer. And if that bouncer doesn't let the information in, it doesn't matter how brilliant the lecture is or how important that email is, it literally does not enter the system. It bounces off.
So if you're listening to us right now, but you're also scrolling through Instagram, the gate is pretty much closed to us.
The audio is hitting your ears, but the information isn't being encoded. It's just washing over you. And the part of the brain running this gate is the prefrontal cortex, or the PFC.
Which the sources call the CEO of the brain.
Yeah, it's a decent analogy. The PFC handles impulse control, planning, and this is crucial, filtering out the noise. It decides what matters. But I think calling it a CEO gives it a little too much credit.
Oh, how so?
It's more like an orchestra conductor who is constantly trying to manage a really rowdy audience.
And the audience is all the distractions.
Exactly. And to understand that battle, we need to look at Michael Posner's 3 networks of attention. This was from a key paper in our stack.
Okay, let's unpack those, because I feel like this explains why focusing feels physically hard sometimes. I want to see if I can, apply them.
Go for it. The first one is the alerting network.
Okay, alerting. So that's just the state of readiness. Like if I'm driving and a car ahead swerves a little bit, suddenly I'm gripping the wheel tighter.
That's it. It's the get ready signal. A runner at the starting blocks waiting for the gun. You aren't focused on one thing yet, but your brain is primed to react.
Got it. Then comes the orienting network.
Yes. So in your driving scenario, that car actually swerves into your lane. Your brain instantly shifts its spotlight to that specific car. That's orienting, it's selective, it filters out the billboards and locks onto the threat.
And then the third one, the big boss, the executive network.
This is the heavy lifter. This one handles conflict.
So sticking with the car analogy, this would be me deciding not to lay on the horn and instead focusing on just getting back into my lane safely.
Precisely. Or in an office, it's what keeps you writing a difficult report when your phone is buzzing and Slack is pinging. It manages all that competition for your attention.
And the research suggests this executive network is the one we're just constantly exhausting. Like we're asking it to bench press 500 pounds all day.
We are. And it's not just electrical signals. There's a chemical cost to this. It's a delicate cocktail. You have dopamine, which is the fuel for motivation. It's what gets you to start paying attention.
And then there's Acetylcholine.
Yep, acetylcholine acts like the spotlight operator.
Hmm.
It sharpens the signal so you can actually encode the memory, and then norepinephrine regulates that overall alertness.
The sources also touched on brain waves, which usually makes my eyes glaze over, but this was relatable. Beta waves versus theta waves.
It's tangible physics. When you're in that deep dive, mode active, sharp focus, your brain is emitting beta waves, about 12 to 30 hertz.
Theta.
Theta is what happens when you're driving home on a route you know by heart, and you suddenly realize you don't remember the last 5 miles. It's a drowsy, unfocused state.
Zombie mode.
Yes. And here's the kicker. If you are stressed, sleep deprived, or constantly context switching, your brain physically slips into theta. You cannot process complex information in that state. You're trying to run a marathon while sleepwalking.
Okay, so we have this incredibly sophisticated biological machine, the conductor, the networks, the chemicals. It's designed for focus. So why are we losing? Why is the average attention span down to 47 seconds? Are we just lazy?
Not at all. We are up against an enemy that knows our biology better than we do. We're living in the attention economy.
This is where the research gets a little frightening. The sources describe our devices not just as tools, but as slot machines. And they mean that literally.
It is a literal comparison of the mechanism. It's called variable reward systems. Think about a slot machine. You pull the lever. Sometimes you get nothing, sometimes a small payout, and once in a blue moon, a jackpot. You never know what's coming.
And that uncertainty is the hook.
That uncertainty triggers a massive dopamine release. When you scroll social media, you don't know if the next video is funny or boring or rage bait. And that uncertainty keeps the dopamine loop firing, trapping you in what researchers call involuntary attention.
It's not that I want to watch the video, it's that my brain needs to know what it is.
Exactly. And the design features just amplify this. The infinite scroll was a major point in the reading. It's an incredibly insidious piece of design.
Because there's no stopping point.
Right. In the physical world, things have stopping cues. You finish a chapter in a book, there's a big blank space, the movie ends, the credits roll. Your executive network uses those cues to step in and say, okay, show's over.
But the infinite scroll just removes the stop sign.
It removes the stop sign, the intersection, and the brakes. It disables the executive network's ability to intervene because the experience never technically ends.
So we're doom scrolling and we tell ourselves, oh, I'm just multitasking. I can check this one email and then go right back to my project. But the research says that is a complete lie.
It is a biological impossibility.
Yeah.
And this brings us to a concept from Sophie Leroy's research called attention residue.
I have to say, this concept hit me the hardest. It explains so much about why I feel exhausted on days where I don't feel like I really did anything.
It completely changes how you view your workday. The idea is that when you switch from task A to task B, even for a quick check of a notification, your attention doesn't fully transfer.
So let's play this out. I'm writing a script. I see a notification. I pop over, check an email, answer it, and come back to the script. What's happening in my head?
Well, you feel like you're back on the script, but a residue of your cognitive focus is still stuck on that email. You're still wondering if you phrased it right or waiting for a reply. You are working with a cognitive handicap.
So I'm essentially operating at what, 70% capacity?
Or less. The research suggests that because of this constant switching, an 8-hour workday might only yield about 3 hours of actual productive brain power. You're just leaking cognitive fuel every time you switch.
That is a terrifying efficiency loss. And it connects directly to cognitive load theory, right? We're just overloading the system.
We are. Cognitive load theory says your working memory has a hard limit. Think of it like a backpack. It can only hold so much. And there are 3 types of load or weight you can put in there.
Okay, break them down for me.
First is intrinsic load. That's just how hard the task is. You can't really change it. Then there is germane load. That's the good effort, the energy you spend actually learning.
And the third one?
Extraneous load. This is the enemy. This is everything that doesn't help. The ping of a notification, the cluttered desktop, the confusing font, the background noise.
The fact that I have like 40 tabs open right now?
Exactly. That is all extraneous load. And here's the simple math. If your backpack is full of that extraneous garbage, you have 0 room left for the germane load, the actual learning. You can't think deeply because you're too busy filtering noise.
So we've established that we're distracted, chemically hijacked, and overloaded. What's the real cost?
Because Cal Newport, who wrote Deep Work, argues it's more than just being busy.
Newport's whole argument is that in our economy, the ability to focus intensely on a hard problem is becoming the killer app. It's a rare, high-value skill.
But let me play devil's advocate here. Isn't slow and steady okay? If I'm distracted, but I just spend 10 hours on a project instead of 5, don't I get the same result?
Newport's formula says no. The formula is high quality work produced, time spent, X, intensity of focus.
So intensity is a multiplier. It is the critical variable. If your intensity is low, say a level 3, because of attention residue, you have to spend an astronomical amount of time to get the same result as someone working at a level 10. And often you can't get the same result. You just produce mediocre work no matter how long you spend.
And the scary part is, the sources say this isn't just behavioral. We are physically changing our brains.
This is where it gets really sobering. Chronic smartphone addiction and heavy multitasking have been linked to a reduction in gray matter in the prefrontal cortex.
We are literally shrinking our own CEO.
We are atrophying the very part of the brain responsible for focus. If you don't use the executive network, it weakens. And it's compounded by lifestyle stuff like sleep.
The blue light effect. I feel like everyone knows this, but we all ignore it.
We do. But more importantly, sleep is when the alerting network recharges. If you get, say, 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you are chemically unable to sustain attention the next day. You're starting the race with a limp.
And then there's cortisol.
The stress hormone. Constant notifications keep us in a state of low-grade fight or flight. And when cortisol spikes, the brain shifts into survival mode.
And what does survival mode look like for a knowledge worker?
It looks like reactivity. Survival mode shuts down deep logical thinking, the PFC, in favor of quick habit-based reactions. You literally can't do deep work when your brain thinks it's under attack. You just answer emails because it feels like you're doing something.
Okay, so the picture is pretty grim right now. Our brains are changing for the worse. But there was this twist in the research stack that I did not see coming. It turns out technology might also have a solution.
It's the great paradox. We found a fascinating paper called Challenging Cognitive Load Theory that looks at AI and educational neuroscience.
This is about AI that actually watches you learn.
Yes, intelligent tutoring systems.
Oh.
The idea is adaptive learning. The AI uses real-time data, sometimes even biometrics like eye tracking, to detect when your cognitive load is too high.
So the computer can tell, hey, his brain is frying, and it backs off.
Exactly. It lowers the extraneous load. It might simplify the interface or adjust the difficulty of the material to keep you in that Goldilocks zone.
That's incredible, but it's also kind of a wake-up call, isn't it?
How so?
Well, we're building machines that treat our brains with more respect than we do. The AI says, oh, you're overwhelmed, let me make this easier. We say, oh, I'm overwhelmed, better drink another coffee and open 3 more tabs.
That's a profound point. The AI recognizes our biological limits. We just tend to ignore them. The studies on surgical training showed that AI-driven training actually outperformed human instruction because the AI managed the student's cognitive load better.
Of course, there is a creepy factor here.
Oh, master.
If an AI knows my cognitive state better than I do.
That's a whole ethical minefield, data security, algorithmic bias. We're opening a door that's hard to close, but the lesson from the AI is valid. You can't force knowledge into an overloaded brain.
So let's try to apply that lesson. The listener right now just has a smartphone, a deadline, and a tired prefrontal cortex. How do we fix this? What's the toolkit?
We need to rebuild our cognitive capital. And the sources point to 3 specific protocols. But I want to be clear, these aren't hacks, they're lifestyle changes.
Okay, let's start with the body. Protocol 1, biohacking.
We have to treat the hardware. Sleep is non-negotiable. But let's talk nutrition. The brain needs omega-3s, and you have to avoid simple sugar spikes.
Because of the crash.
Right? A sugar crash causes brain fog. Biologically, that fog is a failure of the alerting network. You lose the fuel to maintain readiness.
And exercise.
Vital. 20 to 40 minutes of aerobic exercise. It boosts blood flow, but more importantly, it releases something called ADNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
I love that acronym. It sounds important.
It's basically miracle grow for your neurons. It helps repair that gray matter we talked about shrinking. If you want a better attention span, you have to sweat for it.
Okay, protocol 2, workflow strategies. We've all heard of Pomodoro, 25 minutes on, 5 off.
Which is great for routine tasks. But for real knowledge work, the sources suggest the 5-2-17 rule. 52 minutes of work, 17 minutes of break.
And for the really deep, creative stuff,
the 90-20 cycle. It aligns with what they call ultradian rhythms, the natural energy cycles of the body. You go hard for 90 minutes, then rest for 20.
Now wait, this is the part of the research I think is going to be the hardest for people to swallow. The rule for the break.
This is where everyone fails,
Because my instinct on a break is to grab my phone and scroll.
and that completely destroys the process. During the break, you cannot consume new information, no scrolling, no news, no emails.
I just sit there.
You let the brain go offline. Walk, stare at a wall, look out a window, breathe. If you feed your brain new data during a break, you aren't resting the executive network. You're just switching the type of load. You have to let the dopamine system reset.
It sounds painful. It sounds...
Boring. Boredom is the point. Boredom is the state where your brain actually recovers. If you kill boredom with a phone, you kill the recovery.
That's going to be a tough sell, but I see the logic. Okay,
Right.
Protocol 3 is environmental engineering. If willpower fails, change the room.
Exactly. If you can't rely on your CEO to make good decisions, remove the temptations. One really simple one. Turn your phone screen to grayscale mode.
Make it black and white.
Instantly removes the visual candy. Those red notification badges, they're designed to trigger an alarm in your orienting network. In gray, they're just gray. The urgency is gone. It breaks the dopamine loop.
And no phone zones.
Bedrooms and dining tables. Physically remove the device.
Does it really matter if it's just on the table, face down?
Yes. The research shows if the phone is just in your visual field, even if it's off, your brain is spending a tiny bit of processing power saying, don't look at it, don't look at it. You are leaking cognitive capital just by having it near you. Put it in another room.
It seems so simple, but I know I'm going to struggle with that one.
It's simple, but it's not easy. We're fighting against billion-dollar algorithms.
So, to wrap this up, attention is finite. We are in a crisis of attention erosion. But there is a silver lining.
Neuroplasticity works both ways. Just as we've trained our brains to be distracted, we can retrain them to focus. It takes time, and it takes tolerating some boredom, but the brain is adaptable. You can rebuild that gray matter.
I want to leave you with a challenge today. We've talked about cognitive capital. So, if attention is the currency of the modern world, I want you to look at your screen time report like it's a bank statement.
That's a very sobering exercise.
And ask yourself, what did I buy with my attention this week? Did I buy knowledge, connection, or did I buy anxiety and memes I won't remember in an hour?
If you treat your focus like an investment portfolio instead of spare change, everything changes.
Try the 5-2-17 rule today. And during that 17 minutes, just stare at a wall. See what happens. Thanks for paying attention.
It's the most valuable thing you have.